Hi, this is Nuit, and today we will be talking about temples in Malta. We will be knocking at the door of eternity, trying to find out what is it behind that culture that is, whose freestanding structures are oldest on earth. What is it? What are the secrets, the mystery, the magic that this culture can actually give us? So we can apply it within our spiritual path, within our spiritual development. We are going into the edge of civilization. We are going into 5000 BC. 5000 BC. We are walking back 7,000, more than 7,000 years. We're talking about structures that are built before the Stonehenge and before the pyramids. And they're not caves, and they're quite sophisticated structures, temples that are built from stones that are as huge as 19 tons. Can you imagine a single stone would be as big as 19 tons? And we're not talking about one of them. We are talking about more than 20 megalithic temples on a space of 300 square kilometers. Now, imagine this island in the middle of Mediterranean called Malta, Melita, honey. Imagine this island, and within this island we discovered more than 20 megalithics, structures that are temples that actually have been built 7,000 years ago. Going back in time, we find out that this culture that descended from nowhere, because we don't really know where the settlers came from, have lived in Malta for 2,500 years. And what is very interesting about them is that no evidence of any sort of warfare was found within their remains. Also, architecture doesn't have any sort of structure that is defensive. So it suggests that the culture was living peacefully on this little island, or perhaps it was a bigger island at the time. And also the bones that were found of the people living those days are healthy. So population that lived there for 2,500 years and left some architecture miracles for us to see, was living there in peace and was healthy. Now, was this an island of giants? Hearing the size of the largest stone of 19 tons, of course, bring us back to the myths of giants and the very beginning of Earth, when those giants actually existed. And within Malta, some of the temples were actually called temples of giants. That we would not know, but we could have a thought of the island being a pilgrimage site, because why else somebody would build more than 20 temples? And they were obviously temples because houses and settlements were built next to them. These structures actually had all the different ritual stones within them, and with no doubt we can say that they were built for gods. Now, was this island a pilgrimage site? Did we have 7,000 years ago people actually traveling for miles across the sea to come to Malta, to come to their beloved temples, to come to worship the Great Mother or Great Father, beloved God or Goddess? This is one of the greatest mysteries of times. Temples are shaped like goddess. Temples are shaped as human being. Within them we can see lots of birds and trees and animals carved into the stone, lots of altars and fire pits, circular chambers leading from one to the other, oracle halls worshipping this element of air, or perhaps for singing, then liberation halls, then water balls, huge water balls, and statues, tiny statues and huge statues. The statues, some of them clearly show that the period was the period where Mother Earth was the main one, and she, Mother, Goddess. But also some others are clearly asexual. So this culture that lived for 2,500 years, that built some of the most amazing architecture miracles, that lived without any war, actually had a concept of God that is asexual. The God that goes beyond sexuality, God or goddesses. These temples were aligned to the sun. During the equinoxes, during the longest day and the shortest day, the sun rays aligns with a portal and walks through the portal, through the corridor, up to the altar, blessing, initiating, giving the ritual significance to the temple and the worship of the sun. Temples are now uncovered, but evidence shows that actually they were covered, and some thought is there that the covering of the temples were showing the moon and the stars, that these ancient people, ancient priests and priestesses, were worshipping the sun, but also the moon and the stars. What we see everywhere, in every room, in lots of artifacts, is spiral. Mystical spiral is everywhere. How beautiful that symbol, isn't it? The spiral that is expanding through to the eternity. That is a symbol of path to consciousness that contracts to the single point, to the God within, and expands to this transcendent God that equals the universe, the spiral that is found within our DNA, the spiral that is found in a shell and also within our universe. This mystical spiral is everywhere within the temples. And also there is an interesting, beautiful separation into two within temples. The water and earth was worshipped on a particular side, and fire and air was worshipped on another one. In the side where water and earth was worshipped, you find deliberate darkness. In the side where air and fire was worshipped, you find reflected light. Just outside the temples there was a hall that was flooded with light. So you have all the light of the sun, reflected light of the moon, and deliberate darkness that leads the soul to the inner light. This polarity is much later found in many different spiritual paths and religions. Within Kabbalah you find it within the tree of life, where opposing pillars are depicting the life force manifestation. You find it within Taoism, within their yin and yang energies, where the balance is the key to happiness and health. You find it in Hinduism, where the Ida and Pingala are the cosmic forces, and yogi has a task of descending through Sushumna, through the center, to